is an interesting juxtaposition of two psukim in our parsha, which seems to be striking and a little bit surprising. Torah tells us as a prohibition, lo sosifu, do not add al hadavar shenochim mitzav eschem, onto the thing that I command you, v'lo sigru mimenu, and don't hold back, from doing that which Hashem commanded. What does it mean to add? Rashi says, like adding a fifth parsha of tefillin or a fifth item to the lulav and the other items that are done together. And the opposite would be true of sigru mimenu. Okay, so it seems relatively straightforward. You're not allowed to add or diminish from mitzvos. The next pasuk says, "Einechem haros," your eyes have seen Eis asher asa Hashem beVaal Peor. Everything that Hashem did to Baal Peor, the avodah zarah of Baal Peor. Ki chol ha'ish asher halach achrei Baal Peor hishmido Hashem Elokecha mikirbecha. Anybody that has followed after the ways of Baal Peor has been destroyed. What connection is there between the lo sosifu, do not add on to the mitzvos, and Baal Peor? What was Baal Peor? Baal Peor was one of the idols that were worshipped in those days with a very unique and disgusting form of worship. The person would be po'er atzmo, the person would defecate in front of the avodah zarah. What does that have to do? The destruction of those who worship Baal Peor, what does that have to do with Baal Tosef, with adding on to the mitzvos? The Alshich quotes from a Gemara in Sanhedrin on Daf Samach Daled and has a fascinating insight. It tells us a story, the Gemara tells us of a few stories related to Baal Peor. It says, Tana Rabbanan, there was a story, Maisa Besavta ben Ilas, Shehiskir Chamoru L'Nachris Achas. So there was a Jew whose name was Savta ben Ilas, and he rented out his donkey to a non-Jewish woman. Kevan Shegil Lepor, when she arrived, they went in front of the place of Baal Peor. Omralo, she said, Hamtain, wait here, Ad Shekones ve'etzei. Let me go inside, let me worship, and then just wait here, and then we'll continue on our way. La'achar sheyatza'a, after she came out, Omar La, he said to her, Af hamteini, wait for me also, Ad shekones ve'etzei, that I'm going to go in, and I'm going to go out. Omar La, she says, what, v'lo Yehudi ata? You're a Jew, why are you going to Baal Peor? Omar La, ma yichbas lach? What does it matter to you? Nichnas, he went in, pa'er b'fanav, he defecated in front of the idol, v'kineach bechotmo, and he cleaned himself, he washed himself, wiped himself with the nostril of the avodah zarah. His intention was to show how disgusting this avodah zarah was, and it means nothing to me. And trying to make low and push aside the avodah zarah. Vayimashar se avodah zarah, but the kohanim, the priests that were there, mekalsin lo, they praised him. V'omrim me'olim lo haya adam she'avdu zebekach. Wow, you thought of a chiddush, you thought of a beautiful new way of worshiping the avodah zarah, and they learned from it. He intended to disgrace the avodah zarah, and he ended up worshiping it. Says the Alshich, that is the risk of Baal Tosef, and the flip side, Baal Tigra. Baal Tosef, the person assumes, I'm doing the mitzvah, I'm trying to do what's right, I'm following the commandment, I just want to add a little bit to it, I feel like I could do a little bit more. What you see from the case of sometimes when you add more, it in fact takes away. We don't appreciate when we know that this is exactly what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, so then that's very, very clear. But once we go ahead and we do more, so maybe that is going to undermine everything that we're trying to do. That is the connection the Alshich suggests between the psukim. And maybe that connects really to the truth is, what's the essence of this avodah zarah of Baal Peor? Who would ever have thought to create such a disgusting avodah zarah? And it seems to me that's really what the essence of Baal Peor was, is to show that there are no rules. There are no rules. There's nothing which is sacred. I have not bound by even the basics of humanity and human dignity. It just doesn't matter. And that is part of what was so terrible about Baal Peor in particular, because Baal Peor is the opposite of a life of Torah mitzvos, not just in the sense that it's worshiping avodah zarah in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it's a mindset of I am the one who is fully in control, and there's nobody and nothing that can tell me what to do. But a life of Torah and mitzvos, a life of Torah and mitzvos are ones that are bound by specific rules, by halachos, by ways of worshiping HaKadosh Baruch Hu properly. And it's a particularly, the Baal Peor mindset is one that's so prevalent now, We're living in a society where everything's falling apart. There's nothing which is sacred. Everybody does what they want. There are no rules. And that behooves us to strengthen our connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be humble in front of His mitzvos, His halachos, not to try to be mechadish, not to try and create and innovate, but to be machnia, but to humble ourselves in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And hopefully as we enter into Shabbos Nachamu, and we understand and appreciate the closeness that we can have to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will grant us the Nechama, and ultimately the Binyan Beis HaMikdash, B'mehera V'yameinu. Amen.